Okay, let's stack in. We're looking at some source material today, specifically this really compelling personal story.
Yeah, it comes from a YouTube video, actually. The title translates to Crying in the Middle of the Night.
Right. And it's part of a series called Detkad, which is sort of like spooky abroad.
Exactly. Experiences outside Thailand. And our goal here really is to unpack this one story, this account, reportedly from Laos.
We want to follow the sequence of events, pull out what happened and try to understand the mystery behind it all.
It starts with the setting, which straight away sets a mood. We're talking about a remote military camp, northern Laos.
Deep in the forest, very isolated, dark night, really quiet. The kind of quiet that feels heavy.
Absolutely. And it's this quiet that makes the first strange sound so impactful.
So the source introduces us to this soldier, Kun Wing. He's at this camp near Paklai, Yoboi province.
And it's described as really remote, thick forest all around.
Getting there isn't easy either. The roads are dirt tracks, not paved.
Yeah, difficult access. And even the houses for the soldiers' families, they aren't close together, they're spread out.
Quite far apart, actually. The source says maybe 400, 500 meters between them.
And Kun Wing's guard post, where he is that night, is about 300 meters from one specific house. That house becomes important.
Okay, so picture it. He's on duty, midnight to 2 a.m. shift, alone, 300 meters from the nearest house in the silent forested area.
Just the sounds of the forest, nothing else. Which is why what happens around 1:45 a.m. just before his shift ends is so noticeable.
Yeah, this is where it gets weird. He hears something.
A sound that immediately puts him on edge. It's described as intense female crying. Very sorrowful.
And specific, too. The source mentions a hiccuping quality to it, like deep, uncontrollable grief.
In that dead quiet, it must have been incredibly clear, cutting right through the darkness.
You can imagine. And his reaction is described as, well, first surprise, then definitely unease. Who's crying like that out here? Why?
It just doesn't fit. It's the wrong sound for that time and place. Creates instant tension. Where is it coming from?
And then pretty quickly, he gets a possible, though tragic, explanation. He sees some movement.
Yeah, a couple of other soldiers, maybe 2 or 3, are leaving the main camp area.
So he asks them, where are you going?
And they tell him their superior sent them. Someone's died in one of the houses nearby. They need to go check, offer help.
And here's the chilling part. They point to the house they're heading to.
And Kun Wing realizes it's the same house. The exact house the crying was coming from.
Goosebumps moment right there. The source says he felt them instantly.
Yeah, the weird sound suddenly connects to this awful reality. The crying was grief. Someone had died.
Still unsettling, though, the timing. He heard the crying before they were sent out.
Right. It adds a layer. He can't go yet. He's still on duty until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But he tells them he'll follow as soon as he can.
And he does. Shift ends. He's curious. Maybe still a bit creeped out by the crying, so he heads over to that house.
He gets there, and there are already people, other soldiers, some villagers.
And they're dealing with a body, which is wrapped respectfully in a white cloth.
The wife of the deceased is there too, still crying, understandably very distraught.
And Kun Wing sees her, sees the scene, and thinks, okay, right, mystery solved.
Yeah, a brief moment of relief almost. The crying was the wife. Terrible, but it makes sense.
But he notes he doesn't actually see the dead man's face then. He's sort of told it's maybe better not to look.
And he learns the details. It was the husband. The wife found him around 1 a.m.
Which was just before Kun Wing heard the crying start.
Exactly. He'd hanged himself,
Yeah.
used a traditional cloth, a pak halma, tied to a beam, and there was an empty liquor bottle nearby.
So, tragic suicide. Awful situation. Seems like the immediate mystery is resolved, but the story takes another turn.
It does. There's a practical problem now. The widow had arranged for a coffin.
But the shop can't deliver it this late at night.
Right. And they need it. So she asks the soldiers and villagers there for help. Can someone go and pick it up?
And Kun Wang steps up. He volunteers to drive
2 other guys go with him. So it's the 3 of them, setting off again into the night.
back onto those rough, dark roads. Must have been a tense drive.
Definitely. Slow going, isolated, and their destination. A coffin shop, late at night, adds to the whole atmosphere.
They get there, and the place itself sounds kind of spooky. Rows of coffins stacked up in the dark.
You can imagine. But then something really strange happens. As they're figuring out how to get the coffin, a man appears.
Just appears. Out of nowhere.
Pretty much. Described as maybe 40 years old.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a second ago, seemingly. And he just offers to help them carry the coffin.
Wow. Okay. That's unexpected. An unknown guy just showing up at a closed coffin shop in the middle of the night.
Totally out of the blue. But, I mean, they need the help. Carrying a coffin isn't easy with just 3 people.
So 4 is better than 3. They accept his offer.
They do. He helps them load the reserved coffin into their vehicle. Probably a truck.
And then it gets even weirder, right?
Yeah. He doesn't say goodbye or anything. He just offers to ride back with them. To the house.
Seriously. He wants to go back to the house of the person who just died.
Climbs right into the truck bed with the coffin. And barely says a word the whole way back.
So Kunriang and the others try talking to him.
They try, yeah. Ask him things. But he just gives really short, minimal answers. Doesn't explain who he is, how he got to the shop, or crucially, how he plans to get back from the remote house.
Just sits there silently with the coffin. That is profoundly strange. Riding back through the dark forest with a silent stranger and a coffin.
It defies any logical explanation. Where did he come from? Why was he there? No answers.
So they make it back to the house, navigate the bad roads again.
Arrive, people are still there waiting. The 4 of them unload the coffin.
And the helper, what does he do then?
Gets the coffin down and then just says something simple like, "Thank you, I'm going now."
And he turns and just walks off.
Into the darkness. Towards the forest.
Towards the forest. Not back towards the road or anything.
Nope. Just walks straight into the trees and disappears. Leaving Kun Wang totally confused. Like, how is he getting anywhere from there?
Vanishes as mysteriously as he appeared. Okay, my head's spinning a bit.
It's a lot to take in, but the real shock, the big reveal, hasn't even happened yet.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. Fast forward to the next evening. The funeral ceremony is happening.
Kunriang goes back, right?
Yeah.
With some friends.
Yes, him and maybe 4 or 5 buddies go back to help out, pay respects. They're chanting the usual funeral rites.
And there's usually a photo of the deceased displayed.
Exactly. Near the coffin. So Kun Wang and his friends go up to pay respects. He looks at the photo.
Don't leave me hanging.
And he recognizes him instantly. The man in the photo. The man who died.
No.
Yes, it's the exact same man who showed up at the coffin shop. The man who helped them carry the coffin and rode back in the truck.
Get out. The helper was the dead guy.
That's what Kun Wang realized. Imagine the shock. Seeing the photo of the man who died by hanging yesterday and recognizing him as the guy who physically helped you carry his own coffin just hours before.
I can't even. Did anyone else see it?
Yes. He nudges his friend, one of the guys who went to get the coffin with him. The friend looks. Same reaction. Total shock. Reportedly says something like, "Hey, look."
Confirmation.
And more comes later. Other friends who had seen the body earlier that morning when it was being prepared for the funeral,
Yeah.
they confirm it too. Even though the face was a bit swollen from the hanging, they say yes. The man in the photo, the helper, was definitely the deceased.
So multiple people confirming this impossible thing. The dead man was physically present, helping them after he died.
How do you even process that? The physical reality of his death versus the physical reality of his presence just hours later. It makes no sense.
What did they do? Kun Wang and his friends.
The sources, they were completely shaken, couldn't even talk about it during the funeral chanting. Just speechless afterwards.
I bet.
And Kun Wang was absolutely certain. He'd been close to the guy in the truck bed, saw him clearly. No doubt in his mind.
Yeah, the impact on the place, the people.
Well, the story says the experience stuck with him, deeply disturbing. And that house, nobody dares go near it anymore. It's forever linked to this chilling, unexplainable event.
Wow. What an account. It mixes such raw tragedy with something utterly inexplicable.
And that remote setting, the deep forest, the silence, it almost feels like the isolation makes the impossible seem, well, slightly more possible somehow, or at least more terrifying when it happens.
It definitely amplifies the mystery, doesn't it? The helper appearing from and disappearing into that dark, silent forest.
The environment really plays a role in the feel of the whole thing.
So we've walked through this account from the crying in the middle of the night source, the initial sound, the discovery, the coffin trip, the strange helper.
And that final mind-bending revelation at the funeral.
It leaves us with this huge question mark. And maybe that's the point to leave you, the listener, with.
Yeah, think about this. Based on this account, what did that helper represent? His appearance, his silence, his actions, helping with his own coffin. What does it signify?
How do you reconcile the fact of his death with the corroborated accounts of his presence afterwards? What does a story like this do to our neat ideas about life and death?
It certainly challenges them. It's one of those stories that sticks in your mind, makes you question the boundaries of what we think is possible.
Definitely food for thought. Thanks for joining us as we explored this really unusual piece of source material today.
We hope it gave you a clear picture of the reported events and maybe spark some questions of your own.
Keep exploring those questions. Until next time.